Now,
On what?
then I put go live. Now I end it.
No, don't end. Did you end it?
No, I put go live.
Okay, now you live. Now you manage it.
How? So now what?
It's loading, right?
It's just now I see myself and it says go live. I mean, now it says it's just on and it's showing me and then it says end stream. That's the next thing.
Okay, you're live now.
Yes, I am.
think. Okay, so the webinar is scheduled in 7 minutes.
Okay, so where do I get people writing in on this one? They don't. People don't ask questions on this on YouTube, right?
Wait. They should.
Do I put send feedback? Show all?
You're live now?
Well, I think I'm live.
Yes, you are. And I don't know what you see, so I don't know how to help you to see the comments on YouTube.
I see where I am. Let me see. There's this send feedback. Then it says about the edit. I don't see like where to go do comments either, but where would I do comments? There's some expand menu.
I think you will see here comments soon. Do you see live chat?
I see myself.
Okay, open Chrome, go to YouTube.
I am on. Oh, I'm on YouTube. But last time I saw chat, and I don't remember seeing chat. There's only like a little question, like a chat, like a little box of the question that sends feedback. There's webcam, stream, manage. Then it says edit and end stream at the bottom.
No.
It has an arrow that's pointing that way.
I don't know. No, I don't know where are you.
Yeah.
People are already greeting you.
Oh, good. Let me see.
Not here on YouTube. If you can open Skype, I can send you the link. Maybe that way you see.
What I mean? What if I open Skype here? So is that what you sent me, the YouTube link? Did I click on that?
And remember, if you hear yourself again, just pause any open video you see.
All right.
Do you see anything?
Yeah, I see a chat now. I can say something here. Hi, everyone.
Yes. Do you see comments from other people? Here's Maylord, Jane Vance are commenting.
I see that. Hi, everyone.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, good. All right, so.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you. Bye. Okie dokie. Here we're getting ready to be able to start working with this particular little webinar. So give us a few moments and hopefully we'll be able to be right on right away. Just double checking to see everything is okay. There we go. Super. I hope everything comes out okay and that we don't have any challenges with sound or anything of the sort. But, if we do, you just let me know and I'll do my best to see what we can do to make it better. Okay? All right. We'll be on in 1 minute. Make sure we allow other people to come in. Hello from Canada. Hi, Jane. And from Hong Kong, Mary Law. Wonderful to have you here from Quebec. Great to see you here as well, Ghislaine. And Alabama, right around the corner from me, huh? And then we have India, Deval, and also from Bangladesh. I'm so happy that you all are joining in for this live webinar over the magic of Christmas giving. Are you all ready for the holidays? We're doing everything possible here on my end to get ready for the holidays. And as you can see, I have a little background with a little Christmas tree and the likes. It's obviously one of my favorite time of years. So hi from Ireland as well. M. Musavir Hussein, welcome. I'm happy that you're here as well. That you all have made it. And if you can hear me fine, that's great. And if you cannot, for whatever reason, make sure you let me know, okay? So let's get started. I think, we have a bit to talk about, and as you know, I'm Laura, and I'm here for you at all times. And I wish I could be even more for you more of the time. It's just that, of course, there's so many other things to do. And if I don't get to answer all of your YouTube messages and your hellos and questions and greetings, it's just because it's a lot that I need to do and I'm here alone to do it. But other than that, I just love the fact that you are here with me, that you follow the teachings of the Silva Method, and that I'm very grateful that you are one of my friends, one of my family members. I just want to put it that way. And I wanted to make this time to have some time together so that we could spend a little bit of the holiday time tossing around the idea of the magic of Christmas giving. For me, I think it's one of the very special aspects about the holiday season, whether it be Christmas or going to Hanukkah or any other aspect of the holiday season, that is really special and really brings about some wonderful aspects of our nature and ourselves. When I think of the magic of Christmas giving, what immediately comes to mind is giving to others. I mean, of course, we think about giving to ourselves, and that's not a bad thing. It's a pretty cool thing. But more than that is giving to others, especially those that need our help. It means keeping alive the old traditions that we have formed over the years and also remembering our own past, remembering what it was like, especially as we're growing up, what Christmas meant to us. In probably less turbulent times as we're going through right now. I know it's not easy. It's kind of a challenging moment in our lives and everyone's life throughout the world, but we're making it happen. We're making do with it. We're dealing with it. We're applying our tools and techniques to make the most of it. And I think it's really important that in difficult times, that's when we're mostly tested to put our knowledge and skills to the test. And you're lucky, I'm lucky that we have these knowledge and skills to share, not only with, or to use for ourselves, but to share with our loved ones as well. So don't hold back with what you know. Share what you know with others about positive thinking, keeping the faith, staying focused on the good things about life and all that we have to be grateful for. So when I think about Christmas time and Christmas giving, It means advancing and participating in the idea of the magic and wonder that we, as children especially, experience during the holiday season. And children throughout the world still find in Christmas or in this holiday season, because truly it's a time of love and generosity more than anything else. At least for me, it is. And I wonder and I hope that it is for you. And if the magic that swirls around Christmas that brings so much goodness to so many isn't enough, then some researchers say that generosity may be a sort of magic pill for happiness and longevity. I personally think that's an amazing thing. I know that some of the times that I feel the greatest are those times where I give the most. I think that's one of the reasons why I love doing Silva so much, because I know that it's something that I can give. And when you give, it doesn't have to be money, although it can be, obviously, but it usually has to do with, and I'll mention this again, with your time or your treasures, yes, but also your talents. And although I like to give of my time and my treasures, I think one of the greatest things that I find that makes it so easy is to give of my treasures. And for me, that's the knowledge I have of Silva. And so, whatever I can do to help you and giving you what you need, that's great for me as well. Lou Jones says giving is wonderful medicine for the giver. And that's so true, because studies have found that giving or being generous, both volunteering, for example, your time, or giving of your talents or money, and like just charitable donations, it benefits people of all ages, the young and old, both physically and psychologically. If there is such a thing as a magic pill for happiness and longevity, we may have found it in the act of giving to others. Now, according to those studies, going back to what Lou said, the benefits of giving are significant. It can lower blood pressure, lower the risk of dementia, lessen anxiety and depression, reduce cardiovascular risk, and create overall greater sense of happiness. It's always been said that giving can be in the form, as I mentioned, through time, talents, and treasures. Now, some of you may have more time than others, and some of you may have more or greater talents than others, and some of you may have more treasures than others. So there's a great variety of ways that we can give to really create that magic or stir up that magic that comes during the holiday season. And when you give, it's really important that you give from where you stand and from what you have. Most importantly, it's important to give sincerely and genuinely. That's the key right there. Not to give because you have to, or because you were told to, or because whatever, but really because it comes from your heart, it comes from your soul. Let's go back and take giving in the form of your time, such as volunteering. Volunteering moves people's awareness towards the present moment. And when you stay focused in the present moment, it distracts the mind from the stresses and problems that you may have at this given time. Many studies have shown that one of the best ways to deal with the hardships in life is not just to center on yourself, but to take the opportunity to engage in simple acts of kindness. What can be more kind than giving of yourself in some form or another to somebody else, and just doing it from your heart and soul? Studies also show that when people think about helping others, they activate a part of the brain responsible for feelings of gratification. Helping others doles out happiness chemicals, including dopamine, endorphins that block pain signals, and oxytocin, known as the tranquility hormone. It has a lot of beneficial physical, or I would say some very strong physical benefits as well. Let me see. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, thank you for your time being here with me. Really appreciate it. So going back to some of the research that comes up, research also shows that just even the thought of giving to somebody else, or even like to giving money to a charity has positive effects on the brain. Now, that's even the thought of it. And all of you who know so much about meditation and practice meditation, and you practice picturing yourself in the future, and you picture yourself as a giving person, even that alone can stir up those wonderful feelings inside you that also will give you some positive or beneficial health outcomes. According to Dan O'Reilly, professor of behavioral economics and psychology at Duke University, he basically says that intuitively, the tendency is to believe that giving more to oneself is the best way to be happy. But that's not the case. What really happens is that if you're a recipient of a good deed, you may have momentary happiness, but your long-term happiness is higher if you're the giver. The giver always seems to benefit the greatest from the act of giving. For example, if you give people, he said, a gift card for a Starbucks cappuccino and call them that evening and ask them how happy they are, people say that they're not any happier than if you hadn't given it to them. But if you give them a Starbucks gift card and tell them to give it to someone, even if it's an unknown person, and you call them later on and ask them how happy they are, then they are feeling happier simply because they practice the art or the practice of giving to somebody else. People are happier when they give, even if it's just following instructions and doing the right thing. They take credit for the giving, and that giving alone is what makes them feel happy. The way we give is also really important. For example, you might have to give of your monies to taxes, for example, which is something that we have to do. And that doesn't typically make you feel any happier to have to pay taxes or give to the government tax monies. So, that doesn't make you feel that good, especially if you give directly from a paycheck and we don't have to pay attention to it. It's just an automatic kind of a withdrawal kind of thing. So really, it's the way that we give and how we give that makes us happy. I think the key word is to do it deliberately, to do it sincerely, and to do it genuinely, and to do it thoughtfully so that other people can benefit from it. Studies also found that older adult volunteers had a lower risk of dying in a 4-year period than non-volunteers. I mean, again, talking about great benefits. As long as they were able to volunteer for real reasons, for altruistic purposes versus self-oriented reasons. So when you do give, it's really important that you give from your heart. That's really where the magic is at. Hi, Gabriela, miss you. I'm so happy to know that you're here and that you're hopefully, I'm sure, doing very, very well. And Guylaine, again, thank you for joining in. I'm really happy that you're able to make it here. Okay, in a particular study, it pointed out that in order to gain a personal benefit from volunteering, you have to focus on how your giving helps other people. We have an ability to shift our focus, and you can do it very easily because you're a Silva practitioner. And many of us have and do have a focus of keeping other people in mind, other oriented focus. And that's really important than just focusing on what we're going to get out of anything. So giving to others and focusing on helping others is going to do better for our own health. Another survey, or an online survey of 4,500 American adults, found that people who volunteered have less trouble sleeping, less anxiety, less helplessness and hopelessness. They have better friendships and social networks, and a sense of general sense of control over any kind of conditions or things that may come their way, especially important in these times of uncertainty. So there's a lot of benefits, a lot of goodness that comes from the act of giving. And especially in this Christmas moment or Christmas season or holiday season, what better time to stir up that magic of giving than this time today, this time now? Even as a way to manage pain, for example, volunteering, which is giving of your time. I'm only focusing on that right now because it's so easy to give some of your time. At least for most people will have time, although they say, I have no time, I'm so busy. And then during this time of COVID, how am I going to give time when I can't even be going around to places? I can't go to the hospital. I can't go to old folks' homes. I can't go anywhere like that to help. Well, I mean, there's other ways. So I just want you to be creative as to how you can volunteer other than being physically present, okay? But giving of your time in the various ways of doing it can be very, very beneficial. Researchers say that if you could say that on a scale from 1 to 10, insulin as a treatment for diabetes is a 9.5. Drugs for Alzheimer's disease are more like a 0.05. Volunteering is somewhere up around a 7. So if you were somehow able to package this into some kind of a chemical compound, you'd be a billionaire overnight, that's for sure. And more now with an aging population, that reducing cognitive decline is really important. A recent review found that among seniors, volunteering is likely to reduce the risk of dementia and is associated with reduced symptoms of depression, better self-reported health, fewer functional limitations, and lower mortality. Again, I'm talking about this because that kind of impacts me. I'm in my late 60s now, or later 60s, and I find that, of course, these are the things that I want to make sure that I keep in the back burner always, because it's important for me to do everything that I know is going to be of benefit, not only to me, but those who are closest to me, those whose lives I touch. And obviously, to be a strong, healthy, older adult and to age in a strong and healthy manner, for me, is very important. I personally have a goal to leave this planet as healthy as possible, because it's just a matter that it's time to go. I don't want to leave this planet broken or ill or hurting. I don't want to be in pain or suffering or depressed. I want to be vibrant and alive and young and feeling wonderful in every way. So again, these are some of the things that we can share, with one another. And it doesn't matter how old you are. The benefits of giving, and this, like I said, it's a perfect time to give, are just as great for the young as they are for the older adult. Let me see who else is coming here to say hello to me. We said Musan says, we are happy to share with you. We make an association of civil graduates. Good. And to keep, to serving the, humanity. That's wonderful. And thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much, Christina. And okay, so Guylan, you've already been doing some giving on your part. So you've been helping others financially, and it does feel good, does it not? So I just want to mention a few things that we have here going forward. So again, the benefits of giving are seen in younger people too. A recent study of 10th graders found that students who spend an hour a week helping children after school programs over a 10-week period of time had lower levels of inflammation and cholesterol, plus a lower body mass index. So again, these are 10th graders. I guess 10th graders would be like 15-year-olds, more or less. And if you can't find time to volunteer hands-on, especially during these COVID times, then there's some benefits to making a meaningful donation of your treasures to a charity, for example. We talked about the usual focuses on giving is going to be time, talent, and treasures. You can always give of your treasures. Studies show that people who donate meaningfully just once even feel happier months later, though it's best to do it with some regularity. I often talk about one of my daughters. She's a flamenco dancer, professional flamenco dancer. She lives in Madrid, Spain. But many years ago, she was wanting to break through the flamenco scene in New York City, which they have a very good, strong flamenco scene there. And so she decided to take off to New York, and it was during the winter time, during the holiday season. And she was struggling a little bit. She couldn't quite find the way to get in. And so she calls me up one day and she said, she's a little bit gloomy. And I'm saying, hey, cheer up, what's going on? And she kind of explained her situation and talked about how things were a little challenging. And I said, don't worry, I'll send you some money. She goes, no, I don't want you to send me money. I need to do this on my own. I just need to just find a way to break in. And I said, one of the best ways to do that, because she's been getting shorter and shorter on her cash flow, is to give some of your money away. Give some of your treasures. She goes, what treasures? I barely have $100 to my name. I said, yeah, but you have a place to sleep. You can buy some food. You have friends that are around you. And there's a lot of people who have a lot less than you do. You have backup and support, whether you want to accept it or not, but other people don't have any of that. I said, so I just want to recommend that you give some of your time, talents, treasures to someone who has really, really has less than you do. She goes, okay, fine, I get it. So she said that later on, she called me later to tell me that during that same morning that we had that talk, she went off to see if she could go find some work or find some inn. And she decided to stop over and get a cup of coffee somewhere. And along the way, she saw this elderly man who looked like he was not well on a very, very cold day, trying to keep warm. And she looked at him and she felt for him. And she walked into the coffee shop, got herself a little bagel or something, I think it was, and a coffee for her, and the same for this man. So when she walked out, she took it to him and gave him something to eat. And she said, it gets me emotional, but she looked up at him, he looked up at her with these crystal blue eyes, she said, that were piercing. And he said, "God bless you, child. God bless you so much. Thank you so much." She said, "I felt that blessing just fill me from inside out. I really, really felt that energy. And I was just very grateful that to him, what I think he was to me. I don't know how to explain that. But anyway, she went on to say that she went on to this dance studio that she had walked by several times. And she decided this time to walk in and offer her services. She goes, "I'll do anything. You don't have to pay me unless you feel I'm worthy of payment, but I can sweep, I can clean, I can tidy up. I know flamenco, I can teach. I've done teaching before. And if I can help in that way, just you let me know." So she went on, the woman thinking, who is this, this strange child here? She thought, okay, she's like nothing but she's about 5 feet tall and very petite. So she doesn't look very threatening. So she said, "Fine, go ahead, start, and we'll see what we can do." And when she saw her talent, then she said, "My gosh, this girl is really, really good." So she passed on the word to friends of hers who had restaurants where they taught or they showcased flamenco dancers. And she said, "I've got this girl in my studio who's really, really good. She's coming from out of town. Maybe you should take a look at her." So the word went on. And from that generous offering of her talents, then went on to get a job at this flamenco restaurant kind of a place that did these shows. So now she had 2 jobs. And now she's making some more money. And so I said, well, you know what you did right. If the fastest way you want to get out of this situation is to give of what you've got or from what you've got. And you start little, you start giving what you can. But it's in that giving that you find the magic. And what better time than Christmas or the holiday season to find the magic in giving. I mean, researchers have been studying this wonderful practice for so long. And they find that even with alcoholics who are part of the Alcoholics Anonymous, when they help other alcoholics, they double the likelihood of overcoming alcoholism in 1 year after going dry. The benefits of helping others are greatest when you have experienced the same kind of problem. In the case of my daughter, she was struggling a little bit. This man was struggling a lot, but she could relate. And when you can relate, it's something that for more reason, you're able to build that rapport and resonate with the other person and really become one and feel your oneness with other people as well. So any form of giving is actually a very therapeutic behavior. It helps you in so many ways and can be a great therapy all in all. So why does it feel so good to give? Well, the conclusion is that it boosts happiness. In almost every single study, you can find that people are measurably happier when they spend money or give time or give of their talents to others. And even if it's as little as $5, it's enough to produce real gains in happiness. Well, my daughter didn't have a lot of money. It may have cost her $5 to get a bagel and a coffee, but that little act of kindness, that gesture that came from her heart, really made a huge difference. Scientists determined that the joy of giving is hardwired into our brain, and they've discovered that the act of giving increases activity in the midbrain, a region associated with pleasure such as food and sex. So there you go. Givers always gain. Going back to the story of my daughter, I think about the story of Joe Vitale. He began to understand the magic of giving like late in the 70s, he said, when he was homeless. Can you believe this guy was homeless? I mean, he's one of my favorite authors. He's given me so many great ideas as to how to live life in a more fulfilled manner. But back then, he had no money. So what could he give? He had a lot of books. So he gave books away. And the more books he gave away, the more books came back to him. So he noticed there's a pattern here. but still impoverished. He gave a few dollars here and there, mostly to people who gave him spiritual nourishment. And as he gave, he started to receive. Notice giving is only one side of the coin. It's the receiving that's the other side of the coin. And he got a job offer. Then he was able to publish an article. Then he had one client, then another client. Then that was followed by a book publishing contract and had paid speaking engagements. Living quite a luxurious lifestyle now, he continues to give, saying, it sounds counterintuitive, but the more you give, the more you will receive. As I give bigger, I get bigger back. I get more movie deals, more book deals, my own television show, more unexpected income. The list goes on and on. And he's not alone in this. And it's from people who are starting small, like my daughter, who is now a thriving flamenco dancer and very well known in Spain. Her name is Ileana, Illeana Gomez, and put flamenco on YouTube and you'll see her yourself. But there's other person named Percy Ross. He started giving away, or he had like $2 million to his name. And he was set out to give money to people he believed really needed it. In 17 years, he gave away an estimated amount of $30 million. You do the math. He had 2 million when he started, and yet he gave away $30 million. Try to make it work out mathematically, and it just doesn't work out because it's the magic of giving. There's so many benefits, whether it's going to be psychological benefits, whether it's going to be health benefits, it's going to be social benefits, it's going to be monetary benefits. You see, that's what's called the abundance mindset. People often ask me, well, how do I turn a scarcity mentality or mindset around? How do I break that pattern? It's easy. First, you start by being willing to give some of your time, talents, and or treasures to those who have less and are truly in need. Now, you don't have to overdo the giving. Simply give what's comfortable for you. You may be very frugal with your time, talents, and treasures, and that can be a good thing. But you can't live being afraid to give or spend or use what you have thoughtfully and or charitably, because giving signals the more than enough mindset to your inner self and the universe at large from where all things comes. It signals abundance. And when you're in a state of giving and giving willfully, you're telling others and yourself that there's so much, that there's plenty, that there's more than enough to go around for everyone. Yet giving, as I mentioned earlier, going back to Joe Vitale's story, is only part of the equation. Because the other part of the equation that's just as exciting is that of receiving. Brad Jensen has always said, you receive through the same doorway through which you give. The way you receive freely is to give freely. This brings to mind some universal laws. And universal laws are just that. They apply across the board to people of all crosses of life. And one of the universal laws is that of the law of reciprocity, also known as the law of action and reaction, which states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, think about the stories I just told you. So the action was the giving of what they had. Joe gave books. Ross gave some money. My daughter also gave of her money and her talents. And they got back more, so much more of the same as time passed. Another universal law is the law of compensation, which states that for every action given, taken, or done, there will be an equal and just compensation. In other words, that's basically saying that what goes around comes around. These two laws are kind of fluid. And the reason for this fluidity is because the outcome is not predetermined and is totally dependent upon the nature of the action that takes place. For example, in human relations, if you treat a person with love, kindness, and respect, that's the action, then you're far more likely to get love, kindness, and respect in return. That's the reaction. Spiritual leaders and financially successful people have been telling us about the magic of giving for ages. Here's some pointers to help you apply the magic of giving in your life, especially during the holiday season. Okay, get ready. Give out joy rather than through obligation. Give because it feels good and offers you a way to express appreciation for all that you have and all that you're in the process of creating. Receiving is the other part we're talking about. You can't receive unless you give. You open that big doorway by which you give, and that's the same doorway through which you receive. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're very conscious of. So much of the time, when we're in need of things and people are genuinely wanting to give back to you because you were so good in the past, you may have given of your time, talents, and treasures, and suddenly they say, "Oh, God, I noticed you're needing some help here. Here, let me help you." So often we say, "Oh, no, 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 I'm fine. I'll be okay." Instead of saying, "Thank you. Yes, I so really appreciate it. I'm so grateful for this." But we don't do that. Our ego kicks in and we get all tied up in our ego and say, "Oh, no, no, I can do it myself. I don't need any help from anybody." That's not the idea. People want to help. People feel good to help. Don't deprive others of that wonderful feeling that comes from giving by rejecting the giving. Because the moment you start rejecting the giving, guess what? That door starts to close down, and it makes it harder for you to give or for others to receive what you're giving, and certainly harder for you to receive. Receiving is a natural result of giving unless you resist it. When you give, be open to receive. Now, the other thing is to give without strings attached. When you give something, just release it completely. Think about people who maybe you've given loans to in the past. How good are those relationships? A lot of times people really can't pay you back because they don't have the money, they lost their jobs, they get more tied up in their debt, and then they're embarrassed because they can't pay you back, and then you never see them again. And then you as the giver become resentful because you're expecting the payment in return. So when you give, my husband and I have that rule. We're not going to give to expect a payment in return. If it comes back, fine. But most of the time when we give, it's just to give it away. It's a gift. And that's where the pay it forward concept comes in, where when you give, they say monies to somebody that to help them move along, say, "I don't expect payment back. I simply expect you to pay it forward to 3 other people." Whenever you can, give of your time, talents, and or treasures as you move through life and ask them to do the same. If we were to pay it forward to the 22nd exponential, uh, we would cover the whole of the planet, the whole 7 billion people on this planet. Can you imagine how great it could be if we kept passing on this pay it forward concept? It only goes so far. Usually the chain gets broken along the way somewhere. Unfortunately, that happens. But if we could keep it going, we could change societies, cities, politics. We can change all kinds of stuff if we wanted to by just simply doing that wonderful and kind gesture of giving and paying forward. And you wouldn't lose so many relationships, so many dear ones and loved ones because they're embarrassed to come back because they couldn't pay for you. And there would be no resentment building up. So when you give because you want to give it, release it, let it go completely. It's up to the receiver what they do with your gift. It's not up to you anymore. So again, you may get it back and you might get it back 1,000-fold. But don't expect it. Just give it from your heart and release it once it's given. Follow Joe Vitale's example and give what you have from what you have to give. It doesn't have to be money, although it can. And it doesn't have to be talents, although it can. But it can be some of your excess possessions and things that helped you along the way. And books are a wonderful way to help others grow and evolve at the same time. And again, donating your time can be done easily in so many forms. Now we have Zoom calls. Now we have telephone calls, of course. We've had those for a long time, but there's so many ways to connect and be face to face with a loved one and be able to share what you experience with them and how wonderful it is to give and give freely. Volunteers report improved health and, of course, deeper sense of meaning and purpose as they give. And so consider, if nothing else, to give of your time. Give somebody a call. Do a Zoom call if you want. Write them a note. Any of these things are going to really stir up that wonderful magic and also increase that abundance vibe, because the more you give, the more you're going to receive. And what better way to increase the abundance vibe than to give? And that's a magical practice. It really does create magic in your life. So if you're ready for more abundance in your life, think of someone that you can give something to. Do that now. Think of maybe a few people, 3, 4, 5, 10 people that you can give something to. It doesn't have to be anything big. And I know that you can relate to that because I'm sure that you in the past have received something so meaningful, yet so small. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It just has to be meaningful. Giving helps you feel more prosperous and releases feelings of lack and limitation. And it's never too late to start. Here's a good idea. And we might, say like the 12th day of Christmas. How about the 10 magical days of Christmas? You might want to start with, 10 days starting today or tomorrow. And you can alternate this. It doesn't have to be all the same. But one day, give some of your time to somebody, whether it's just to listen to a story, just to be a sounding board, just whether it's going to be on the phone or in a Zoom call. Maybe it's a loved one that's part of your bubble group, and you can really sit down with them and, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and chat about, life and situations, just to be there for them in these days where we feel so disconnected with so many people. So for one of these days, the 10 days of Christmas giving, give somebody some of your time. So you might want to write down one day time. Day 2, give some of your love. Tell people that you love them. The people that you love, tell them, I love you, babe, or I love you, sweetheart. I really, really cared. I hope you're doing, great and whatever. It doesn't matter how you do it. But I think one of the reasons why, there's many, of course, but one of the reasons why my husband and I are so happy together after 30 years of being together is because we tell each other, I love you many times a day. And even if a quiet moment is between us, maybe we're reading or something, it's just to say, I love you. It feels so good. And just kind of to get that little smile back and say, I love you too. And then just go back to reading. I mean, we just do that all the time, but we've always been a very, loving family, a loving couple. And, we've taught that to our children as well and grandchildren. So just tell people that you love them. That's another thing to put on. On another day, a third day, give some of your money. Again, you don't have to break the bank. Just, give something to someone who is in greater need. Give a donation, even a secret donation to a neighbor, an elderly person, whether it's going to, or it could be money or it could be a bag of groceries. That's giving of your money. Just to order in groceries and have it, be put on their doorstep. And that they can't go out. Times are getting colder around this part of the country, of the world, and in many parts, of course. And maybe sometimes a delivery of groceries or goods would be nice. So that's giving some of your money in that way as well. Another thing you can do is to help someone with a problem. Give some of your ideas as to how to solve problems, because maybe you've been there, done that before. And you're able then to advise them, guide them, mentor them into coming out of a situation. And you're able to tutor them along the way, whatever it is. But helping them and giving them some advice, some ideas, some insights, and helping them to solve a problem is another way that you can give and stir up that magic of Christmas giving. So we still have like around 10 days, all right? Day 5, build with someone's self-esteem. I mean, a lot of times people don't hear enough how well they're doing, how proud you are of them, how you notice that they've been working hard at different things. I mean, people don't always hear that. And I think it's important for us to build someone's self-esteem and make them feel good about themselves and let them know that you have noticed that, you acknowledge that in them as well. 6, give somebody a phone call. Surprise an old friend with a phone call and just say, hey, how are you doing? I've been thinking about you. It's been a long time. I mean, it's really a surprise call is always so welcome. I always like when I get a phone call from someone I haven't talked to in a long time, I was like, hey, how's it going? Wow, what a wonderful surprise. Most of the time you say, I've been thinking about you. So surprise someone with a phone call and just, catch up a little bit, bring in that almost, so eagerly desired belly-to-belly contact, although there's no belly-to-belly contact, but the hearing of the voice, the tone in how you speak, and the joy that comes out and flows from just connecting with an old friend or someone who we haven't talked to in a long time. That is so uplifting. That's such a giving of your time. Pass out hugs. That's day 7. Hugs. I mean, we're Latinos here, so we hug a lot. And I know not everybody is into the hugging thing, especially with COVID going on. But it's funny. My husband and I made a quick trip. My husband had a doctor's appointment. That's why we had to postpone this webinar for for a day because they changed his doctor's appointment from last week to this week. And anyways, that's our story there. And so we thought, well, since his doctor lives in Austin, which is about 230 miles away from us, we thought, and we have a lot of family in Austin. I said, well, let's make a drop off of Christmas gifts. So we took advantage of the time to take Christmas presents to my sisters and our granddaughters and people who are not going to be able to come together for Christmas this year. And one of my eldest sister, Isabel, that you may have heard me talk about her because she's such an amazing clairvoyant, a medical clairvoyant. She said, okay, this is what we do here. She and her daughters and grandchildren, they turn back to back and they rub their backs together up and down, they just rub their backs together instead of facing each other and breathing on each other. Of course, we all had our masks on anyway, but it was so nice to just touch her body, her skin, her back. It's just so sweet. I thought, what a great way of doing that. We couldn't hug, but we were rubbing back to back and we say, okay, we walked away because love you, bye, kind of thing. So there's an idea of you can't pass out hugs, kind of like rub back to back. And you have that feeling of, skin to skin contact with one another. And what a wonderful thing. If not, of course, you can always hug those who are in your bubble group. The other one is that 8 is to give someone a blessing, just like that man did to my daughter, that just fill her heart with love and goodness and that divine energy that comes with a blessing. And just know that everyone is capable of blessing someone with some goodness. You don't have to be a priest or a rabbi or a holy person to give blessings out. Anybody can bless anybody else. And just bless them with something good, a good wish, a positive thought, something that can take them on a journey, carry them through the day, take them through a trying moment, through an exam at school, through a final, whatever. Just give someone a blessing. 9 is to write someone a thoughtful message. Just, mail it, write something and mail it to them. And what a better way to receive someone. We hardly ever get messages in the mail. I'm very fortunate that I've been getting some really nice, Christmas cards of gratitude from different organizations that we give monies to or support. We give donations, and it's just so nice just to open that card and say thank you so much for your generosity and all your help and assistance. We're grateful for you. And when you read them, it makes one feel so good inside. So write someone a nice message of gratitude or anything like that, or a nice thought that you can send them. And day 10, send everyone you came across in the past 10 days a little note of appreciation and gratitude for them being in your part of your life, for them being in your group. And it didn't have to be a lot of people. I mean, it could be just a handful of people, but in 10 days of Christmas giving, you may run into 10 different people that really stood out, and just get 10 little cards, and just say thank you and just write thank you so much for being in my life. That's all you got to do. Stamp, mail it off, and that's it. Or even if you can't do that, then even an email message or a text message is going to do the trick. All right. So there's just all kinds of things that we can do to make great things happen. So let me look at your list here. And so some of you already have some really good things planned out. Let me see. Some of you are saying that the program has helped so much. Thank you very much to me and my father. Well, you're very welcome. And then, of course, Lou had already said giving is a wonderful medicine for the giver. And Guy Lane has this, he's given his clothing to the poor people. That's a great thing to do. I've been cleaning up my extra stuff and clothing and dishes and just shoes. I mean, women collect a lot of things, and so do men. And all in all, I always pack it together and I give it away. Every week I give something of our possessions away that I like them and they're good, but I haven't worn them in 2 years. So why am I keeping it? So during COVID, I've learned to release a lot of clutter, release a lot of things that aren't serving me, and to really focus on the very things that do serve me and my family and us around here, because what I have, I know they're good things. And right now people can use a lot of stuff, especially because there's a lot of people struggling financially, and there's a lot of children who might not be getting presents this Christmas. And so just collecting presents and giving away presents as well for children. And there's a lot of organizations that are collecting toys. And so we give a lot of toys away. So anything you have, whether it's used or new, you can always good. So that's great, Kylene. That's a wonderful idea. Let me see. And then Lou's coming out of retirement to assist in the trauma of COVID. What a great thing. That's giving of his time. And I think it's really amazing. And let me see. Gabriela, hi again. Mwah, I love you so much. I need some good recipes. You should go to Gabriela Liviano. It's Gabriela, and then it's Libano YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, she's got the best recipes, and she's got videos that are amazing. You can, learn how to do a lot of her recipes, and they come out delicious. That orange cake, oh, that is so good. Okay, and then the guy has also paid some rent monies for one of his sisters who didn't have the money to pay the rent. What a great gesture is that. A lot of goodness is coming your way, guy. That's for sure. And Christina, thank you for being part of this as well. And let me see here. Eli, no estoy segura de decir esto, pero he estado escuchando un audiobook que habla por... Okay. What? Okay, I'll read yours, Ellie, a little bit more. And then Gabriela subscribed to my channel. Okay, I think we're pretty much caught up with some of the questions, and I haven't caught up with the questions, and let me know, because I think it's a good time right now that we do a little exercise. What do you think? How about a little bit of exercise so that we can integrate what we've learned? All right. So we have a few minutes for that. And if I want to take longer, I can. So this is called the giving and receiving exercise. All right. So let's get ready to do this exercise. You know what to do. Find a comfortable sitting position and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your body completely. You know how to do that, relaxing tensions and pressures from head to toes, a little bit at a time. You can recall what it's like to be fully physically relaxed. And as you do, allow your body to go back to that same state of physical relaxation. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, relax your body and now your mind by thinking of a tranquil and passive scene. Anytime you think of a tranquil and passive scene, you relax your mind. Breathe deeply, slowly, and rhythmically, and relax. Take a third deep breath, and as you relax, or as you exhale, relax even more. I know that you know how to follow meditations, and although I didn't explain what we were going to do earlier, I know that you're very good about following instructions with your eyes closed. In a few moments, we are going to activate the law of reciprocity. So allow your consciousness to open to the endless affluence of the universe. Allow it to, just the thought, make you feel good. Now, at the count of 3, you're going to begin to imagine 10 faces. I'll guide you, one after the other. They could be of people you know or people that you don't know, but simply appear in your mind. These are people who are in need of your time, talents, and/or treasures. When you picture them and you think of the idea of giving, allow the wonderful thoughts associated with giving and the wonderful energy associated with giving each of these individuals to come together to form a beautiful bead. that stirs positive energy within you. So, in whatever way feels comfortable to you, collect all this wonderful energy that's associated with giving into a little bead that you will place inside an imaginary basket that will be by your side throughout your life. So let's get started. 1, 2, 3. Visualize or imagine the first face. Let it come to your mind or think of someone who is in need. Visualize or imagine them smiling at you with gratitude for your wonderful generosity. Notice how giving makes you feel. You've felt it before. You know what it feels like. Capture all this goodness into a bead and place it in the basket that's at your side. Now allow the image of that person to fade away, and at the same time, allow another face to come into mind. Visualize or imagine them smiling at you with gratitude for your wonderful generosity. Again, notice how wonderful giving makes you feel. And capture all of this goodness into another bead and place it in the basket at your side. Now, as the image of that person fades away, allow another face to come to mind. Visualize them or imagine them smiling at you with great gratitude for your wonderful generosity. It happened to come at the perfect time and was potentially even life-changing. Once again, notice how giving makes you feel. Notice how seeing or experiencing that other person be relieved and so appreciative of your generosity makes you feel. And capture all this goodness into another bead and place it in the basket at your side. Now you know what to do. Do the same with the fourth face. Now the fifth. And the sixth face. Imagine them or visualize them smiling at you with gratitude. Noticing how giving makes you feel. Capture all this goodness into another bead and place it in the basket at your side. Your basket is filling up with many beads that represent the many wonderful and positive feelings about your kindness, caring, and generosity. Continue with the seventh face. Now the eighth. Now the ninth face. Now visualize or imagine the 10th face. Your basket is now filled with many beads. Multiply the number of beads in your basket many times over, because there'll be many times for you to practice giving to others. More times than just 10, could be hundreds, thousands of times throughout the rest of your life. Many wonderful and positive feelings about your kindness, caring, and generosity are going to be there for you to give over and over and over again. Notice how full your basket is now that you've multiplied the beads. Your basket is now full of all the wonderful and positive feelings about your kindness, caring, and generosity. And knowing that your future is ahead of you, imagine as if through an imaginary doorway, there are images of your future, as if a movie leading out or rolling out in front of you through this doorway. Take your time to picture it as it feels comfortable to you. You have a long future ahead of you. There'll be many people who will come in contact with you throughout your lifetime. Now pick up your basket and with an old heave-ho, toss all the positive feelings in the shape of beads through the doorway out into the future, your future. You know what happens when you toss a basket of beads, don't you? Some land close to you, some roll out way far into the distance. Now, all the wonderful and positive feelings about your kindness, caring, and generosity, all the people are going to benefit from is out there in the future, waiting for you too to enjoy. Now imagine going out into the path of your future and coming across one of these beads. Take a step through that doorway. And as you come across one of these beads, you pick up the bead and recognize that you too are worthy of receiving the kindness, caring, and generosity of others. Do that now. Imagine receiving from others happily, whenever needed, of their time, talents, and treasures. Imagine saying to them, "Thank you so much. You are greatly appreciated." And experience how wonderful it feels to receive. Maybe even as wonderful as it feels to give. Embrace that feeling. Make the most of it and know that there are many more opportunities like these waiting for you in your future. Opportunities for you to not only give and keep that doorway open, but receive through the same door through which you gave. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale and you feel ready, you may open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and healthy, feeling better and better than before. So, hi. Hope you all enjoyed that exercise and you're getting ready for the whole magic of Christmas giving. I really, really want to say how happy I am that you were able to share some time with me. We can hang out. We should have brought a little eggnog right and prepared for that. But it's okay. We can go out and get it right now. And it'll be just as good. As you can see, there are endless reasons to give. And, they're psychological, physiological, there's just spiritual reasons to give, monetary reasons to give, just the happiness that it brings to you. But the best reason is that giving makes you feel fantastic. And hopefully you'll follow through with the 10 days of Christmas giving and just give a little bit of something. Even if it's at the end of the day, you go, I didn't give anything out today, you still have time. You could just be hugging your partner, your spouse, just giving a phone call to someone right before you go to sleep, but do something every day. And you are going to be transformed by the time Christmas Day comes in, and even more so by the time the New Year is ready to come in. And in accordance with the law of attraction, when you feel good, you attract even more good. So do yourself a favor and do someone else a favor and give from your heart and experience the joy and the magic of Christmas giving. Mwah. Love you guys so much. And I wish you all a wonderful holiday season. And we'll be here. We'll keep you busy. And if we don't do another marathon, we'll offer you a whole new program. I'm working on a program and I'm not finished with it yet, but it's coming together. I won't tell you anything else, but hopefully by January, February, we'll have a brand new program with new mental exercises that you can enjoy. But certainly we have some surprises for you coming up in January, that's for sure. Okay, so get ready to do some positive work. And hopefully we can do another marathon together. We can hang out for 30 days or so, all right? So happy holidays to all of you, and keep giving, and keep that doorway open to receive all of the goodness you deserve. Remember, it's your birthright to have it all. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.